Hey everyone. Prayer in public school is a sensitive subject in today's society. In a perfect world, everyone would humbly praise God and acknowledge the biblical view of how our society should work. However, as we all know, this is not a perfect world by no means. This has been an ongoing argument within our country for many years. Should we allow students to pray, or should we not? Most of the time when we discuss this argument, we never come into a final agreement due to our rights as citizens, which we will discuss later on in this video. Prayer within public school should be viewed with a sense of knowledge and sensitivity. It should be viewed this way because even though our country was founded on biblical principles from 150 years ago, today the United States is not a Christian nation. Our society is now filled with great diversity and opinion. On this subject, I have my own opinion about student prayer in public school. I strongly believe in freedom of religion, don't you? Although prayer is not sponsored in public schools today, our students can and should be able to pray whenever they want. Let's use the Bible to back up this argument. In 1 Timothy 2:1, it states, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people. This verse is telling us that although God is all-knowing and all-powerful, He has chosen to let us help Him change the world through our prayers. Students should view their school as a mission field for those children who do not know Jesus or have never believed in anything at all. Religion can also be viewed as a learning opportunity for others. Another argument that states that our students should be allowed to pray in public school is the fact that people say that prayer simply develops a student's moral character. In the dictionary, the definition of moral simply says that moral is the concern of the principles of right and wrong behavior. What you do right and what you do wrong. Children and students should know right from wrong, don't you agree? Praying helps to develop the understanding of right and wrong behaviors. With that being said, no one can stop a child from praying. A child should be allowed to pray for their fellow classmates, administrators, teachers, and their own success in school. Faith in something is better than no faith at all. However, in the Engel v. Vidal case of 1962, which here is a newspaper article that I found in the New York Times about the case, the Supreme Court ruled that it is unconstitutional for state officials to compose an official school prayer and encourage students to say it. They simply stated that they did not want any employee within a public school to encourage prayer, but nowhere in the case does it say that a student cannot pray. A student can pray in a classroom, at lunch, with another student, at a sporting event, or even at graduation. The last argument to back up students being allowed to pray in public school is the First Amendment. Restriction on school prayer violates our religious freedom written in the U.S. Constitution Bill of Rights. The First Amendment says, here's a picture of the Bill of Rights in the First Amendment in our Constitution. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It also says, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a readiness of a grievance. As ruled in the Engel v. Vidal case that we talked about earlier, it is unconstitutional for school officials to compose an official school prayer. This means that they cannot come up with a prayer on their own. That includes administration, teachers, and anybody else within the school building. They also cannot encourage students to say it. They cannot encourage a student to pray. Restrictions on the faculty-led school prayer certainly restricts the government's religious freedom, if you ask me. If we have freedom of religion and speech, why are we not allowed to use it, even in a public school building? As mentioned time and time again, this is a sensitive subject, and no matter what we decide upon the situation, someone will always be unhappy with the decision. The Bible tells us that in the world, including the government, it is opposed of all things of God, which in my opinion is kind of ironic considering that our country was founded on biblical principles and views. One of those things that our government is opposed of is prayer in our public schools. However, students' prayer in public school is allowed, and no matter what the culture, the choice to worship in school should be allowed because as an American citizen, we have freedom of religion. Thank you.